The urge I have to bite the mic, and I don't understand where that came from. I looked at it and I was like, this is an ASMR podcast now.
What is the lore of you wanting to bite microphones?
I am autistic.
Is it because...
Welcome to Lore Club, where a bunch of friends from all over the internet come together to bring lore from our favorite games, fandoms, and more to life. This is a little bonus episode we recorded a few weeks ago, and you'll notice it is much longer than usual. If you're just here for the performances, don't worry, this isn't canon. But if you want to know a little bit about our experience recording the 36 Lessons of Vivek, our perspectives on world building, and our favorite things about horror, maybe stick around for the chat. At about 41 minutes in, we do a table read of the screenplay for Uwe Boll's Alone in the Dark adaptation. We had a lot of fun with this one, and we definitely want to do more, so if there's something you want to see us talk about in a future table talk or perform in this sort of loose, unedited way, definitely let us know. You can do that by sending us an email at loreclubvo@gmail.com. That's loreclubvo@gmail.com. Or tag us online, anywhere, at lore_club. Just lore club. I think that's it for the intro. Thanks for being here, people. Let me get this started for you. Hey, everyone, here's the intro. Welcome to Lore Club, where a bunch of friends from all over the internet come together to bring lore from our favorite games, fandoms, and more to life. Today, we are recording a little bonus episode thing.
and we actually just were creating lore.
Yes, we just were. We're always creating
honestly.
lore all the time.
Yep.
So to start us off,
To preface
this episode, the lore that we are generating here today in this moment, this holy temple that we have created together by congregating in my bedroom.
as is tradition.
I wanted to just go around and for the listeners / viewers, depending on whether or not this is uploaded to YouTube, just names and pronouns so they can associate you with who you are. So I'm Joe, he, they.
I'm Alexander, he, him. I don't know. Neat.
Yeah, no, that's
that's good.
That's good. No, that was a solid delivery. Can you actually take that one more time? And just a little higher in the register. I want a little more nasality to that.
Okay, second take. My name is Alexander, and I use he, and I also use him as pronouns for my person.
Okay, now don't get overconfident. Stick to the script. Just can you back it back down just a little further into the throat? Just. And no ad libs.
That's not the first time you said that, is
it? I love you, Charlie.
Hello there, I am Charles. I use he, him pronouns.
I'm Jonathan. I use he, wait. I'm John.
You're John. You're John.
Jonathan is an amorphous ball of love and death.
Oh, thank you.
Thousands of years
accurate.
old.
I'm Jonathan. He, they.
And we've got Alyssa hanging out in the background without a microphone.
Yeah. Alyssa be chillin'.
Yes.
Alyssa be chillin'.
They're good.
New
chillin'.
meme.
I wanted to. Originally, we were going to read the screenplay, which we do have pulled up here, so we can.
If you're seeing the video, that's why we all have our phones out.
Yeah.
Yes, we can definitely get to that. I just wanted to sort of have like a nonchalant conversation off the cuff about world building from games, movies, like world building as a concept. And why we all love it so doggone much, because we do. I feel like this is a group that we're always having conversations about how cool the worlds that our brains live in are. To start us off, we've been sort of living as a podcast in the world of Morrowind for a while with the 36 Lessons of Vivek. It's just been a lot of fun revisiting this like world from my childhood.
That's been really interesting to read the lines for, because very frequently when I do read certain.
Is Anna in the closet?
Oh, there's a cat in the closet. Sorry.
I love this stupid cat. Okay. I'm sorry, Alex. Continue with the podcast.
Very frequently, when I would be reading lines for that, I would like stop in the middle of, reading lines in the closet like the cat just was, and say, "Jesus Christ, Joe! Like, does this really happen in the Elder Scrolls lore? Like, holy crap! This is surprising. Like your casual Skyrim player is not going to look at that. They're not going to read the books, that you can in all those games, and that's part of why we're doing this.
Yeah,
is because there's so much there that so many people have not gotten into and are unaware of. This is canon in the lore. This is canon in that lore. There's so many different lores in, Elder Scrolls or maybe some other nerdy stuff like like World of Warcraft or something. There's a whole lore there, et cetera, et cetera. It goes on, and it's so interesting, and so many people don't get into it, and they should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are definitely gems there to uncover if you want to take the time. I think that's one of my favorite things about the way that like video game lore works in particular, especially in series like the Elder Scrolls, is they have such a deep well of like characters and events. Like there's this whole timeline to pull events from that they can use to like add sort of the word that some extremely nerdy people use would be verisimilitude to their setting. This sort of internal consistency.
We played with that band.
Oh, but there's a band called Verisimilitude?
And we played with them.
Oh, I don't remember that. I hope they were good.
Yeah, they were.
When you have these like deeper sort of networks of lore in these games, and when you focus on that like from a game development standpoint, like from the start, it can really add a lot to the final product. That like even people who wouldn't necessarily read all of these lore books, you can still like sort of get that like veneer of like internal truth from it as you're playing the game. Like it rewards the whole like immersion sort of process of like creating a character and living in that world as you complete like the main quest or the side quests or whatever. But it also more deeply rewards you if you like choose to take that time and like dive a little more into it.
That's really cool when a story can reward you for getting more into it. God, what was that Tolkien book?
The Silmarillion?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course I was going to bring that up. That kind of awards you by just giving you more lore because you decided to read more. It makes the characters in the main stories, I guess, feel more significant. When you hear, I'm Aragorn, son of Arathorn, son of, like all that stuff, it's like
Last of the Numenor or Last of the Dunedain.
Then it has so much more significance when you really take in the full story and not just part of it.
Yeah, it can sort of go back and like reframe those stories that you've already like fallen in love with. Like for Morrowind. So I had read, a lot of the lore books from Morrowind when I originally played the games, but I think I said this when I originally like played through them on the YouTube channel or whatever. Like I never actually beat the game Morrowind until like a couple years ago when I played through it for stream.
I've never played Morrowind.
Oh, it's so good. It's such an incredible game.
It's very good.
I played a little bit of Morrowind.
Nice.
Not very far.
Yeah. I'd love to. We need to get
Gotcha.
in contact with somebody who worked on that game, because I know we know Jonah Loeb at this point,
For
who
Skyrim.
like worked on
Oh,
Skyrim
yeah.
and some of the
Super
Oblivion
sweet guy,
expansions.
by the way.
Incredible guy. I also want to get him involved in Lore Club somehow, but I don't know how or when to do that.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Get Jonah to read some Skyrim lore.
Yeah, I know
that'd be cool.
exactly. Right?
Holy god! Yes, please.
Like having him voice a character in a Dance and Fire or something like that. would
yeah,
be-
yeah.
Anyways,
Don't let your dreams be memes.
so I had never like actually beaten the game as a kid, and like playing through the game again a couple years ago was cool. But you know, it was just that. It was playing a game and having that experience of playing a game, and like it was fun, like an entertainment output sort of thing, just to engage with and like kill some time, you know, activate some brain cells,
Right.
as one has to do in this world,
Yeah.
with the, you know, the whole everything. But going back and reading specifically the 36 lessons for Lore Club has been really interesting, because like I always thought the dynamic between Vivek and the player character, who is the Narivarine, and Dagoth, the like main bad guy, was interesting, and there are like dynamics hinted at and like vague sort of story arcs that I knew of like from the main campaign, but they purposefully never like give you a ton of information unless you read this literal in-game Bible, the 36 Lessons of Vivek, that explains like why Vivek is the way they are, and like how that history comes about, and it completely reframes like certain lines of dialogue that Dagoth has and that Vivek has when they're talking to the player character. That like when you're playing through initially, it's just like this creepy, like, ooh, spooky, like there's something cool here. I don't know what the fuck is going on, but I'm here for it. But like once you know the story, it's like, oh, there's actually like this deep, sad story of these characters in a video game realizing they're characters in a video game and like failing to ascend to godhood, and the way they act is just like a consequence of their personalities and like how they deal with that information of like being immortal beings that are confined to this like game cartridge. Like it's wild.
I had a lot of fun earlier today reading to Alyssa one of the upcoming parts of one of the sermons, since I will voice the Moon Axle, and reading that and realizing that like the intensity of that moment of Vivek killing his child, one of his children, and like the way that he writes it, that he grabs a canyon and then like a bunch of dogs and then blows their souls onto the Moon Axle until he like suffocates and then stabs him. Like
How massive can it get? Jesus Christ!
It's
I mean, that started
wild.
biblical.
Yeah.
Already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's insane.
Which is cool because like texture. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was like, I haven't ever really read the sermons myself, or even played like Morrowind. So like, this has been kind of my first introduction to it a lot. Has just
Allah.
To
Yeah,
Allah.
This has been
Praise
your
Allah.
first introduction.
You heard it. Well, what was I gonna say? No, this has been like my first introduction to all of it, and that has been through just like listening to the episodes as they've been uploaded in totality. Because when I read the lines, I'm just reading my part pretty much the day of, and I'm not really thinking about what I'm reading. I know that's just honesty.
No, that's okay.
But like listening to it, like all like coming in, it does sound very like religious and holy, like as text, and it's just interesting. Like, oh, like people like producing like religious texts of the day, so like they were just like the world builders of their time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's something I think about a lot. We won't get too into anti-theism or anything
Yeah.
like that here. It's
Anti-theism.
probably not the place for it. But it is interesting once you get into more of these like reading these really well fleshed out worlds, specifically worlds that have like a cosmology and like an explanation for their cosmology, like, you know, their like pantheon of gods, or like how their universe was created. Those worlds that like have a canon explanation for those things, like Lord of the Rings, and I've been reading through the Chronicles of Narnia with my son Reese. It's interesting. I mean, obviously those two examples specifically are inspired by Christianity, so there's a reason they sound the way they sound.
Yeah.
But it is interesting seeing those parallels between like the human need for like creating something new and how that emerges as these like cosmological systems that these people just come up with in their heads, and like how easy it would be for something like that, given the right like context and lack of information, or like some cataclysm that erases our records and like leaves only this text behind.
Yeah.
It would be so easy for these things to be turned into actual religion. And like that's just how I'm already pretty like
weren't we just joking about Scientology?
yeah, exactly. It's so easy for something like Xenu to have been like
Yeah.
I don't know, somebody's D&D bad guy.
When it comes to theism, not stating anything, personal or whatever, but I will state something personal.
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
don't really want to have a conversation with like a pastor or something. I don't really want to have a conversation with like a priest,
Yeah.
but a theologian, that can be really interesting.
Oh, I
If
totally
they like
agree.
tell you about all the different biblical angels and all this stuff, and like what these books actually were saying that I am unaware of because I was never interested in reading them, it can become actually very fascinating.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily something I want to believe in,
Yeah.
but like it's kind of a bunch of cool stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I definitely still like research the Bible every once in a while. I mean, obviously I was raised as a Baptist, but so I know some things. But I definitely still like go back to that well for reference sometimes, because like having that grounded like real world context for coming up with like how certain like theological like dynamics would work between like characters in your pantheon and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's useful to go back there. And also like stuff like the Torah, the sort of Old Testament originally gave us things like numerology and the Cabal, which are so interesting to tap into, and specifically like the realm of like a lot of Japanese creators like mangakas and like in anime reference the Cabal all the time, which is, I don't know where that overlap comes from, but shit like Evangelion, like Neon Genesis, is like its main story is entirely based in the Cabal. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
So anyway, what's your favorite anime? Yes, I'm only saying that because you brought up Japanese.
no, that's
writer.
good.
Yeah.
That is what we call a segue, sir.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm
I
gonna
did
I want to be a basic bitch and say Cowboy Bebop.
Actually,
very
that's
good.
fine.
Oh, also Samurai Champloo, which is also still basic bitch, but
Very
I
good
love
though.
those.
So good.
Great soundtracks on both.
Oh god, I love the seatbelts.
Basic bitch as well, but especially in terms of world building, Madoka Magica has to be one of my favorites. It's so good. Like the whole idea of like the universe. Like I have y'all watched Madoka Magica?
No.
No?
Only like one or two
Alright.
episodes. That's the one with like the mishmash of art styles and stuff.
Yes,
right?
yeah. So it has like the like drawn art style, and then like a lot of the like witches and everything are in this kind of like almost like magazine cutout style. It's
Yeah,
super
very cool.
creepy, especially in like the first few like fights and everything. It's great. But the whole like concept of magical girls in that universe comes from the idea that as the universe is expanding, it's running out of energy. And the highest
I mean, isn't that literally true?
yeah. But the way that they gain more energy and what like these alien beings basically figured out, which is what the little cat is.
Oh, okay.
He basically they're like society, in order to continue and get more energy and everything. They have found that girls at the age of 13 and in that like puberty area have so much emotional energy from going through puberty that if they turn them into magical girls and up that like emotional energy by putting them through like killing a bunch of witches until their souls blacken to the point where they turn into witches. The emotional burst that happens is such an insane amount of energy that it like completely like fuels everything that they need to like continue the universe expanding. Yeah. And so like they're just like using these girls as like batteries basically.
Yeah.
With the intent of having them like blacken and die. And it's just so good. I love it so much.
No subtext there.
No subtext.
You're saying the patriarchy was right. Is
basically.
Jesus Christ. Oh my. Personally, I gotta bring up the works of manga artist Junji Ito.
Oh yeah.
I mean, come on. I think he's kind of my favorite. You know.
Yeah. Tomie is great.
I haven't watched
her
I haven't read
whole
Tomie
little
yet.
story.
Oh, sorry.
It's pretty great. If I can remember right, the whole thing is that like she keeps like dying and reincarnating, right?
Which is why there's a cycle.
Yeah.
And not sure how much of that is a spoiler or whatever, but
That's fine.
I'm pretty sure myself, as many other people, were indoctrinated into the world of Junji Ito. Because of his short story about the faults.
The Amigar fault.
That's the only one I can ever think of.
I'm getting a tattoo of that eventually.
This hole is mine. Yeah.
I gotta go
It
ahead,
was
Jox.
made for me. God, just like the holes in the canyon, just people are just like, I gotta get naked and get into this hole. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, stretch my bones. Go ahead. Just
God, fucking amazing. Speaking of lore, it's like how much could be taken from that particular story? How many short stories are there where you could take so much out of and extrapolate on? I was really interested when I got into the story of what was it, Doctor Sleep? Yeah, the sequel to The Shining from Stephen King. That story has so little to do with The Shining, and yet it has so much to do with it. You think of The Shining and you think of Stanley Kubrick, but then like you think of Doctor Sleep and you don't think of that actually.
Yeah.
Like you're not thinking of Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, where The Shining is sort of like a tone poem in that universe.
Yeah.
Doctor Sleep is like
it's massively extrapolating.
It's sort of the encyclopedia of that universe. It's like it builds all of your different clans and factions and stuff up.
Yeah, it's the Silmarillion.
Yeah.
But not a prequel. It's a sequel.
Yeah.
I think shit like that is interesting.
Yeah.
So like that fault story, like what else could happen in that story?
Right.
What happens to the figures
'cause
after they
Lulu
come
was
out of
like-
the other side?
Yeah.
It doesn't say that they died necessarily.
Yeah, it leaves it open.
Yeah.
And it's like clearly like were they there when like the earth was formed? Like is there some sort of like predestiny, or was it like those were created and just because it says that they just like showed up there, but like did they just show up there due to like some kind of event where they were finally revealed, or was it like the aliens came and created them or something? You know, like that. I love thinking about that. There's so much there.
It could be anything. And honestly, something I like thinking about when it comes to that story is what if they were already here, but humans were created because we went the opposite direction? Did I just blow your fucking minds?
I always like kind of like more of the abstract of like it wasn't put there, like it wasn't made by something else. It just was.
Yeah.
And, like, something about that is just more horrifying. Like the answer is there never was one.
Yeah.
It's just sort of like this chaotic random occurrence.
That is the universe.
Yeah.
And that's also the number one tip in horror is just to not reveal that much information. Like that's why that stays so scary.
Yep.
There's an artist.
Preach.
This is just a side thing, but it's related to the fault line.
Yeah.
There's an artist on Twitter that's been like drawing Junji Ito comic strips, but like emplacing King of the Hill characters into them. And there's this one scene where it's just like the fault line. It's like Boomhauer calling. And it's like, oh damn man, the crack guy on the wall. It's all meant for me, man.
They're all meant for me.
They all meant for me.
I love that.
And it's
really
done
good.
like precisely in the style of King of the Hill, and Junji Ito's like background and stuff perfectly.
Yeah. So what all of this is telling me is
That
that we
balloon
need
looks like my head, Dad.
Dad.
we need to put the call out there for Junji Ito, the Amigara Fault fan fiction that includes the King of the Hill characters
Yep.
going on wacky adventures in their post-fault forms with the newly discovered powers or something.
I love that.
I mean, plenty of canyons in Texas. Like it's
Oh, you're saying we need to shoot this film?
I don't know, maybe.
I'll shave my head again. I can be Bobby.
Bobber?
Yeah, there's also a scene where like he does like different comics, not just The Fault. But like other comics of Junji Ito's, and of course there's like a scene where it's just like boom, Hank Hill's just like whoa.
Oh, like everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love that.
that's great.
I'll have to
Even
find
if-
them and send them to you.
Even if Hank Hill isn't necessarily in one of the rewrites, there should just be like one still
Yeah,
that's just him doing that,
doing the bois.
doing the bois. Yeah, just out of context.
As
bois,
a
the
jump
bois.
scare.
Yeah. You turn the page and
There's supposed to be they're supposed to be having like a anime adaptation of Uzumaki coming out. I think this year finally. Yeah,
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
it's it's one of his stories.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't a big fan of the animated Junji Ito collection because I feel like adding the animation to it wasn't bad by any means. Like the animation was very well done, but I feel like it loses a lot of its fear factor whenever they try to animate it. And like I feel like that's a lot of it too, was that it was in color.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I didn't like that.
Yeah, I know this new one's black and white.
Yeah, I like the harsh black and white in the manga. It really
There's-
helps.
the chiaroscuro.
Huh?
That's an art style from the Renaissance from Italy,
Nice.
and it's it's harsh black and white. It's not just that's why people say movies like I don't know, name an old movie, the Philadelphia Story or something. It's an old black and white movie, but like it's really just gray. It's really just desaturated.
The Cask of Amontillado.
Citizen Kane.
Nosferatu.
Actually, you're bringing up good examples
Yeah.
of movies that are not just gray,
But they
and
have
white.
depth.
Like really harsh, dramatic changes of black and white.
Was it like the
typically used in a lot of
1936 Dracula?
yes,
Yeah.
old horror film noir.
Is that it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I get the year right? Did I get the
Some German impressionist.
30. I think it might have been 32.
Okay.
It was
I
the
know
right,
it's somewhere in the 30s.
It was the right decade
Yeah.
for sure. I don't know. You might be right. I
Yeah.
don't remember. I do remember that Murnau's Nosferatu was 1922. I know that because earlier this year we had the 100-year celebration,
Oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
Good
but
for him.
To that
and the
end,
lead actor was named Shrek.
Wow. To that end, and to your point, I think there's something to be said for a lack of fidelity when you're trying to tell specifically a horror story, but I think it also translates to a lot of different genres. Like when you have those sort of like black and white, very few frames like you would have in a comic and stuff like that, or even like going back to just text, there's a lot that the brain can do
Just
for
fills in.
filling in those gaps that can be even more effective. Like it gets more and more difficult to tell an effective, truly terrifying story the more fidelity you have to work with, if that makes sense.
Because I feel like for me, like one of the things, like I don't know, maybe this is just one of the like neurodivergent processing things, but like whenever I read comics, especially, like it feels like I can't process movement between the panels. It feels like strobe lights. Like that's how I like read comics. Like the movement in between is kind of blank, and so like horror works really well in comic form for me because like
Yeah.
especially
Interesting.
whenever you have
Yeah.
like movement of like non-human things or like human-esque creatures.
Yeah.
It's like whenever you have that like movement and everything, like it feels like it's just like lurching closer. and everything.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
do
yeah.
that like jerky cranked motion,
yeah,
but
like
in your
there's
head.
no, yeah, and I know that like there are things like that you know in the Junji Ito animation that like as soon as that movement was filled in and like it was like, oh, it's just walking, you know, or it's
Yeah.
crawling or something like that, like my brain could visualize it in a way that wasn't it just like jumping at me, and like that completely took away the fear factor for me.
That reminds me of something. Okay, so one of my favorite recent horror games, Visage. I am on a current second playthrough of it because I want to, you know, reprocess the whole second half of it. But there are 3 different ghosts in it, right? And you got to like go through like this haunted house and experience the various stories of these people who passed away in the house due to horrific circumstances. And these 3 different ghosts are wildly different in how they will activate, because they attack you as you're trying to find their story and go through that and go through the different events. And, you know, one character is, you know, little girl with long black hair, you know, like very kind of like Japanese spooky ghost story kind of thing.
Very grunge.
And when she is showing up, you know, when she's around about to kill you, you hear her voice. You know, like it's very, speaking of Japanese, it's very Ju-on. It's very The Grudge, you know. Takashi Shimizu. You know, you hear that kind of vocal fry coming closer and closer towards you. Okay, that's one.
Hot.
And she's a little girl, Joseph.
Oh, sorry. Whoops. Nope. Just cut that one out.
Fucking whoopsie.
Bleep that word. Nothing. I didn't say anything.
The other character is an old lady, maybe more up your style.
Fuck.
I'm just kidding. We're the same age.
Okay.
But like when she is coming towards you to try and kill you, you just hear like this radio play. And Charlie, similar to what you were saying, she just like appears,
Yes.
closer and closer and closer to you.
Yes.
Now, here's why the 3rd chapter wasn't as effective. Because that ghost, that story of this man, I want to say Raken. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but it was a horrible story of this man who was hospitalized and he lost mobility of his legs. He has to use these crutches. Whenever he shows up to you and he's coming at you, you just kind of see him moving with the crutches.
Yeah.
It is so easy to go around him like we were doing in Resident Evil 7.
I was going to bring that up next. Yeah.
It is so easy to do that. You see him coming up, like you hear the spooky music come on, and like, oh no, the ghost is going to come out, and you just see this dude like, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get
God.
you. Oh man, dude.
So sad.
It just doesn't work as a threat, you know?
Yeah.
You just feel bad for him.
Yeah, you're just like, man, God, give me a hug. Come on.
Put your
Yeah,
soul
not to
rest.
mention the trope of using a disabled person to be like a creepy, you know,
There's
figure.
Yeah.
there's that, and also it's like the fear of like a ghost is like they're gonna grab you.
Yeah.
Like his hands are occupied. It sounds like. Like not even like as a joke. Like seriously.
No,
like,
but
gonna
no,
do?
you're right.
Use
yeah,
his
like what's the
legs?
fear? He's going to let go of a crutch.
Oh God, that's awful.
Like you know, like what's he going to let go and then grab you? Like he can't stand. He needs the crutches.
Yeah, exactly.
Or his free hand.
Yeah.
But like
If he was floating or something, or you
Yeah.
gave him like tank treads, then yeah.
Tank
Tank
treads?
treads.
Yeah.
That offers a wonderful mental image.
Yeah.
Oh God.
like it'd be a different thing if like he was like missing limbs, but like as a ghost, like the phantom limb like kind of comes and goes out of like existence
That's a
at
fucking
random.
cool idea.
Yeah.
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 And
It's
then
like he
you
could
could
be-
have more of that kind of like jittery
Exactly.
movement.
Like when's he going to be like full like complete like form? You know, like sometimes he's like they could be interesting to animate
Ooh,
even.
ooh.
And it gives
Like,
you the
When's he going to
opportunity.
be full form? That's very
Yeah.
Hellraiser 1.
Oh
Clive
yeah.
Barker.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it gives you the opportunity to flesh out that character. Like if you're going to include this character with a disability, like, you know, you can then make that a part of the mechanics of,
Yeah.
you know, tell their story of their experience as a ghost or zombie or whatever the fuck they are through that movement.
This is like a side.
What were you going to say, Charles?
Big game spoilers. If I shouldn't talk about it, then I won't.
Say the game first.
Silent Hill Downpour.
Okay. Oh, sure. Go for it.
Spoilers for Silent Hill Downpour.
Spoilers for Silent Hill Downpour.
Spoilers for them.
So like in the way of like fleshing out a character that is like disabled, and the part of them being disabled makes them a little creepy, and like giving some kind of justification for that. Silent Hill, obviously, like every game, deals with trauma. And Silent Hill Downpour.
Reference to Pyramid Head. Hey.
Yeah, hey.
Oh, yeah.
Which, they then used in Homecoming, even though that wasn't related to that guy's trauma at all.
Yeah.
But anyway, in Downpour, in random parts, you see this, like, really, like, gross-looking kind of person in a wheelchair, and they just kind of pop in, and they, like, you have a sequence where you can kind of, like, look at them, and then they just kind of go away. And you don't get any answers on what they are or anything until, like, the very end of the game, where you figure out that, like, the reason that you keep seeing this little weird fleshy thing in a wheelchair is because it's the father of this lady. He was a cop in the prison that you were at, and you had to murder him at one point because he caught you trying to murder the person who, like, murdered his wife, I think. I don't remember.
Murder the murderer who murders the murderer.
Yeah, murder the murder. But yeah, and so like...
Oh, my heart.
The heart murmur. But yeah, it's so like, it was nice because like they kind of fleshed that out, and like you're seeing the way that you left that man, because he didn't die. You didn't kill him. He was just left to be a vegetable.
Yeah, this is a consequence of your actions.
Yes.
You have to deal with the horror of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, now do you remember?
That's actually very interesting. Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Jonathan.
Exactly. Yeah. You get it.
You did a murder, now you have a murmur.
Yeah.
You have to talk to the murderer.
You must remember this.
Yeah, you have to remember the
Okay, so that leads to an interesting question. Where does the depiction of people with either physical disabilities or mental disability,
Especially mental asylums are in like any
or
kind of horror.
neurodivergencies or whatever, when does that stop being an interesting depiction of the human experience in a fictional narrative form and start becoming exploitive?
I don't think there's a hard line for anything like that ever in anything.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
that anytime you're dealing with any kind of exploitation, like, I mean, obviously, there's something to be said for all of us here talking about that. Like, I mean, many of us are neurodivergent.
I got something going on. I don't know
Yeah,
what it
exactly.
is.
We've got our own like mental stuff to deal with,
Yeah.
but none of us
Something.
are like physically handicapped in any way or anything like that. Yeah, I don't think there's a hard line for any of that, and I think that that's a good thing. I think that it's important to take those things on a case by case basis, because
Yes, absolutely. Case by case. Yes, for sure.
Well, because if there were, if you could like consult some book that says like this is what's okay, this isn't, you stop having to engage with the concept at its face. Like, it's just like, this is right, this is not. Okay, nobody has to think about this anymore. You can't sue us as if we don't include this particular depiction, but you can if.
And that's why we read the Bible, right?
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, we did it, Reddit.
Portray others' mental illnesses as you would want your mental illness to be portrayed.
That makes sense.
Oh shit! Fuck! God damn.
No, but you know what I
God
mean.
damn it.
Yeah, like there's like accurately depicting something and then
my God.
cartoonishly like exaggerating it and just making a thing out of it.
Well, and even those cartoonish exaggerations can be valid if it's allowing you to engage with that subject matter in a way that like increases your understanding or advocates for the group or causes spreads some awareness.
And there is some form for like needing to exaggerate somewhat in mediums like film.
Yeah.
Because like that way people can kind of like easily understand what they're seeing. Like they may not, what I mean? Like you can't just have it very subtle all the time because sometimes you got to be obvious so the viewers can like get like, oh, okay, I understand. It has to be right in their face.
I think that the general line should be whether or not it's clearly mocking people, for no reason.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like for the purposes of like a stand-up comedy routine or something, or like a bit, like y'all know the offensive stuff that I've said.
Yeah.
Live on stream. Not even going into the stuff I've said in private.
We got a bunch of white men here. It's yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Just a bunch of white he's. But you can tell intent, and if someone is trying to mock an individual that is that has less privilege, so to speak, differently abled, maybe,
Yeah.
If you're being an asshole, I can tell you're being an asshole.
Yeah,
I think that's my
exactly.
point.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. That is, as a rule of thumb, you shouldn't be mocking.
You shouldn't be an asshole.
and it's hard to tell whether, in certain cases, whether that's mocking unless you're engaging with it on that deeper level and actually trying to examine, what's being said there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stories are interesting. Y'all want to read a story?
Before we get into that table read, I just wanted to say a big thanks to Alex, Charlie, and Jonathan for the talk. It was really fun. You can find links to all their stuff in the show notes, as well as the screenplay, which you're about to hear. Next time, we'll be returning to the 36 Lessons of Vivek with Sermon 11, so get subscribed if you aren't already. Also, the plan is to have these episodes up on YouTube as well, so you can see everyone's beautiful faces. If you're not already following us there, you can find that link in the show notes, like everything else, at thefanet.com/loreclub. That's THEFANET.com/loreclub. Thanks for listening, everyone. I'm going to assume that Burke is like a standard, like, grizzled guy. Yeah.
Can I give Hudgen or Aline like a
Absolutely.
like a valley girl kind of?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely.
Actually,
can you do that for all of the people you?
Yes. Yeah.
actually,
We're practically.
can you switch those?
Me make Burke a valley girl? I can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, just as an idea.
Yeah.
What does Hudgens have to do with this?
Please.
Can you start with on page 68? An orphan is attacking Agent Miles.
So we just doing dry read.
Yep. Let's just fucking do it. Let's just go.
Fuck, we'll do it live.
Lore Club table read.
Yep, that's
Extremely professional.
I think you just have to start from the top of page 68 because that's a lot.
Okay. Yeah. Let's go ahead and do that.
Okay.
Charles, you can do Carnby.
I'm gonna do y'all know the epic rap battles.
Of history. I hate it.
That's gonna be Carnby.
I hate it.
Terrible.
I hate ERB so far. It's one of the worst YouTube channels.
I
It's
love
so
it
bad.
so much. I just remember being
incorrect.
8 and hearing somebody tell Cleopatra that she had a 7-year itch, and I was like, "What's that?"
Yeah. Okay. No, that's clever, but it's still one of the worst.
Oh yeah, no,
fucking
it's the
channel.
worst.
I hate
Yeah.
it.
This
I hate
is
it so much.
unbiased news media.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Up yours, liberals.
Up yours, woke moralist.
Up yours, woke
moralist.
moralist.
Jonathan
We'll
just,
see who cancels whom.
he's got the JB Peterson down so well.
Can you do
Everything's
Jordan? Can you do the Jordan Peterson voice for your character?
Okay,
Yes.
I guess I am
Please
now.
do. And to be clear,
Hold on, I gotta find where I am.
it looks like we are in Carnby's loft.
With an orphan.
Okay.
Yes. Or maybe we're in the headquarters control room. It's unclear the way this screenplay is structured, which of those interiors we're meant to be in at this point in time.
Let's be clear. This is the masterpiece from Uwe Boll,
Yes.
Alone in the Dark,
Amazing.
starting at scene 68 in the middle of the screenplay. As the orphans attack, they make quick work of many of the agents. Glowing bullets fly around everywhere. The screams of agents being torn apart mix with bursts of automatic gunfire. We're a radio show.
I'm not editing.
Can we
that.
throw a Wilhelm scream in?
Yeah,
during
sure.
the-
That's the only sound editing I'll do to this episode.
Oh, wait. Got it. Perfect. Can be. And What the fuck name is?
Carnby.
Carnby.
Sorry, Carnby
Learn to read.
and Aline stay together, dodging the attacking orphans and firing into the darkness. An orphan rises up behind Carnby. He spins and shoots her in the side, but she just keeps coming.
Oh no.
Carnby shoots the orphan again, this time dead center in the chest. The orphan collapses. Dead. Carnby checks the corpse. The bullet came out the other side. A mixture of red blood and black, sticky ooze drips from a bullet hole right over the orphan's spine. Carnby grabs the comlink off the body of a dead agent.
All agents, you've got to kill the organism to stop them. Aim for the spine.
Across the loft. Burke listens to the comlink. An orphan is attacking Agent Miles. Burke takes careful aim and shoots the orphan in the back, right on the spine. The orphan falls over, dead.
Confirmed. Spinal shot's a kill shot.
With this information, the agents quickly gain the upper hand against the orphan's attack. The orphans are fast and deadly, but they have no organization. Now that the agents have a handle on this new threat, their precision and speed returns. Soon, the battle is over. Dozens of bodies of dead agents and dead orphans lie littered around Carnby's destroyed loft. Only Carnby, Aline, Burke, Miles, that's more people than I thought. Chung, Marco, and Turner remain alive. Burke's and Carnby's eyes meet. Burke approaches Carnby. The other agents all stand by, waiting for an order from Burke. Aline watches them, ready to step in. Scene 69, Burke, Conted.
You remember the one rule they teach you in 713 training? Trust your instincts.
Burke and Carnby face off.
Fisher's missing, so is Hudgens, and I've got a situation brewing that makes this scrap look like a bar brawl.
What does Hudgens have to do with this?
That's what I want to find out. I need you both to brief me in the air.
Burke turns to walk off, but then stops. He turns back to Carnby. Burke holds out his hand.
Oh, and Carnby, I'll need my ID back.
Carnby smirks. He pulls out Burke's ID card and hands it back to him.
Lots of scenes happen.
Scenes 127B. I'm not reading all that.
Yeah, no.
There's like a bunch omitted and a bunch incorporated into other scenes, apparently.
Omitted. Incorporated. Omit. This is Oscar
We can
bait.
move on to page 70. Exterior mine, night.
Exterior mine. Night. A massive, long-abandoned structure built directly against the face of a mountain. Really? Interesting. This is the entrance hall of Britannia Mine. 713 agents. Or is that 713 agents?
I think it's like a class or something.
Okay.
No, there's 713 agents.
No, there's hundreds of them.
Okay, that's a lot.
I know that
All right.
they said that only like 8 people were left a second ago, but there's 713 of them. They called in reinforcements.
Listen, I mean, I know it's 713 now, but it's our lore club, all right? There are 713 agents who mill about, setting up perimeter defenses. Humvees are being positioned as barricades. Large spotlights are being set up to illuminate the area, with power cables leading inside the entrance hall. It's a cold read, all right.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Agents Barr, Chung, and Marco are part of the team outside, setting up the defenses. The 713 helicopters I'm just making it plural. Carrying Carnby, Aline, Commander Burke, and Agent Miles comes down. They all come down. All of them.
All
713.
all of the agent smiles.
See, that's not the mistype you're thinking. It's actually Agent Smiles.
Yeah.
It's a happy movie with a bunch of orphans being shot in the spine.
They're smile bullets.
Laughter is the best medicine.
That's right. Yep. For a landing next to 2 other helicopters, 750, already sitting in front of the mine. The moment the helicopters touch down, Burke leaps out, barking into his comlink. Carnby, Aline, and Miles exit after him.
Crash, what are you reading?
Rash, not capitalized, by the way. Rash swivels in her chair, processing data, making adjustments to sensors, and checking out the information, scrolling across the bank of monitors. She wears a headset.
That's world building right there. I'm sorry.
We're practically off the scale, Commander. Wait, shit, hold on.
No, that's perfect.
We're practically off the scale, Commander. This is unprecedented. Should I initiate contingency 9 Alpha?
The military? We don't have time to wait for them to mobilize.
Is that a negative, Commander?
Oh, Burke leads Carnby, Aline, and Miles into the entrance hall.
No, initiate 9 Alpha on my authority, but I won't hold my breath. By the time this clears Defense Council, we'll be dead or drinking. Woo!
Woo, girl.
Yeah.
Interior mine entrance hall. Rusty construction vehicles. Detritus? What?
Yeah, there you go.
All right. And rubble lie discarded throughout the hall. Several shafts have been dug into the mountain. Narrow paths lead up the slope. Agents scurry around, setting up the defense system. The main position is set up just inside the entrance to the hall. Burke and and Miles enter, followed by Aline and Carnby.
We've got 3 perimeters of flash mines. Gatling guns are set to electromagnetic motion tracking, and every available agent in the vicinity is here. But Commander...
I know, Miles, but backup won't make it before sunrise.
Several raised platforms stand in the middle of the hall. On one platform, Agent Turner helps 2 agents unload a large, gold-plated generator from the back of a Humvee.
Generator will be on shortly, sir.
Burke nods to Turner, and he and the others walk by. Carnby and Aline get into step with Burke and Miles.
Looks like you're going to war.
We are. The highest Xeno concentration on record is closing in on this location. This could be our chance to wipe them out once and for all.
A tunnel, carved directly into the rock wall of the mine, leads off into darkness. Carnby stares down at the tunnel. Please do the same voice.
Yeah, the Peterson.
We need to go down there. That wasn't
What?
it. They're coming here for a reason. Until we know what they're after, they're never really going to be able to stop them. We must stop the woke agenda.
Yep, that's right. Agent Miles consults.
Agent Miles consults his hands held Carmater.
Just the entire rest of the read is just you doing the Jason voice.
Yeah, all right, later.
Bye, guys. Something's definitely down there, sir. But there's too much interference to get a clear reading from here.
Miles looks at Burke expectantly.
Ew.
Carnby and Aline watch him as well. Burke looks conflicted.
God damn it, Miles. You're in charge of perimeter defense. Nothing gets in or out until we find out what's down there.
Exterior of the mine. Batteries of flesh mines, mines, that
Flesh
explode.
mines.
Flesh mines that explode with a burst of blinding light.
It's like the opposite of a fleshlight. That's just a dildo.
They set to electromagnetic sensors, and they are being positioned in a wide perimeters around the entrance hall. Yeah, a bunch of other shit. All right, and fucking, I don't know, scene omitted. Whatever, I'm skipping down to the very end. I'm finishing this bit up. Carnby and Aline walk carefully down a pitch black tunnel and illuminated only by their lights. Jonathan, can you please read that last paragraph?
Along with them, Commander Burke, and in his bar, Chung and Marco. They each carry assault rifles with lamps, and mounted on them, their visors are down.
Okay, and that is Alone in the Dark.
Yeah, so that's canonically how that movie goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm pretty sure that's the most faithful retelling one could possibly do of such a piece of media.
Yep.
I think that's
right.
about as accurate as we could possibly get with these 4 microphones
Yep.
in this holy temple again that we have created here.
That spectacular film, the screenplay written by Boopity and Boppity and directed by Uwe Boll.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
I feel like we do need to. I'll put them in the show notes. They're probably much better people than Uwe Boll is.
I mean, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's a good place to stop for this one. I think we had a lot of good discussion. I do want to, next time we do one of these, I do want to talk about Resident Evil some because we definitely could have gone in that direction.
I wanted to talk about Resident Evil, but I know too much. I know more than you know, and I can't talk about the things that I know.
maybe that I need to get a good ways
Yes.
into RE8 before we do a full.
I've seen a full playthrough of Resi 8.
Same.
Can we can we do that? Can we once I play through the rest of the Resident Evil games, can we do like a deep dive into Resident Evil for an episode?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure, right
Absolutely.
on. I mean,
am-
I personally only know the stories of 7 and 8, honestly.
Okay.
I know some, like I know a decent amount from like 1 through 3. Barely know anything about 4, 5, and 6. I know that they're bad. I know that 5
you know
sucks.
everything. You're about to know everything.
I disagree that 6 is bad. I think 6 is one of my favorite games of the series, and I know that's a hot take. Go ahead, leave.
It's not
leave
my
your
cup
comments.
of tea. It's not my cup of tea.
Limbo has a brilliant ending. It's a 10 out of 10. It's poetry.
Disagree.
You want to talk about hot takes? I got your hot takes right here.
Stray might be the best game of 2022, and that's my hot take.
Is that the Korean game about the stray cat?
Yes.
I think it's French, actually.
I don't know where it comes
Yeah.
from. I
I
just
saw
know
some
that I
clips
play
from
a
it.
cat and a little robot named B12.
I saw some clips from it. I thought I saw like some Korean lettering. On
It
the side.
does look a little bit like Korean lettering, but that's just
like Eastern Asian.
it's the robot.
That's just how
alphabet
French
that they
looks.
use. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
That's you know what?
French looks the exact
Man, my
same
vision
way
is
it
going out.
sounds.
Goddamn.
The amalgamation of garbles that you have to make to speak French is just the lettering as well.
It's actually the
that's-
letters are shaped like what your tonsils are supposed to do.
Yeah.
To make French words.
Yeah, that's right. No, people have put cameras down people's throats when they speak French, and it just looks like
It's just squares and straight lines. It's
It-
unnatural.
it looks weird, man.
They're
They're inhuman.
honestly,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
degenerate.
That's all that I have to say.
That's it's
You know, I think
you heard it here first on Lore Club.
Whenever-
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you
this
for
has
listening.
been a great thing, and we will do it again. I'm definitely going to have fun editing this hour and a half of conversation that we have had.
I'm in love with it.
It's good. I miss these days of our podcasting career, and I'm glad to see it. Glad to see us having a bit of a return to form. Woo! Yeah, let's. Jonathan, just say
What I do?
yeah, and like where they can find your stuff. We'll put it in the show notes.
What I
but-
do is borf boo.
I'm Borfboo. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter. I have art. I make art. Sometimes there's art.
And Charlie.
I am Charles. I Choco Milk on Twitch and Instagram. At some point, I'll start streaming. I gotta wait for my mic stand to come in.
Hell yeah, that's gonna happen very soon.
Yes.
With 2 zeros and 2 eyes.
Yes. On the
The
Twitch.
spelling is weird. It'll
on
be in the
Twitch,
show.
yeah, on the Twitch it's 2 zeros and 2 eyes, but you'll figure it out.
What even is brand recognition?
I don't have any.
Yeah.
I'm new to this.
Alexander Alston on Spoofy and Bandicamp and Amazon Music and the other stuff.
Probably
and,
some of those places.
AutoZone.
And AutoZone. Get in the zone. AutoZone. O'Reilly's. Auto Parts.
And I'm Joe. Joseph R. Strom everywhere. Thank you for listening. We love you. Bye.
Kisses for everyone.